Greetings. We are here for how to eat healthy and healthy eating during the holidays. I am Cassandra Shaw, certified health education specialist with No Struggle, No Success Reentry program. And we know during the holidays it can be difficult to maintain our diet, especially if our goals are to improve our health, including managing diabetes, managing and reducing cholesterol levels, and also helping to manage and reduce high blood pressure, or to maintain our weight or lose weight. We have to be mindful of our saturated fats, our sugars, and our sodium levels. And with holiday traditions and holiday foods, they don't really worry about saturated fat, sugar, or salt intake. It's more about a feeling and feeling good. So being mindful when we have these and cook these items to think about those things. Well, to start by defining saturated fats. And saturated fats are found in animal-based products like beef, pork, poultry, which is chicken or fish, or full fat dairy products like whole milk and butter and eggs, and also tropical oils like coconut oil or palm oil. These are typically called solid fats because they are typically solid at room temperature. Saturated fats can cause problems with your cholesterol levels, which can increase your risk of heart disease. Replacing foods that are high in saturated fat with healthier options can help support lowering your risk for heart disease and help support healthier living. Sugar. With too much sugar added can put you at risk for cardiovascular disease, heart disease, cognitive problems, including dementia and Alzheimer's, colon cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol and triglyceride levels can cause kidney disease, liver disease, obesity, pancreatic cancer, eye problems, including retina or muscle or nerve damage. And too much sugar can cause tooth decay and cavities, inflammation in the body. It can increase your waist size and make you gain weight, and also premature skin aging and wrinkles. And then too much sodium or salt can cause high blood pressure, which is also known as hypertension. And high blood pressure is when your blood pressure remains elevated over an extended period of time. Hypertension makes your heart work too hard, and it can cause problems in your organs such as your heart, your kidneys, your brains, or your brain or your eyes. And uncontrolled high blood pressure can increase your risk for a heart attack, heart failure, a stroke, kidney disease, or blindness. So with all of these diseases and um, problems that can come from too much salt and too much sugar and too much saturated fat, it's important that we think about a ballpark of how much is healthy to have every day. So the American Heart Association recommends aiming for a dietary pattern of that achieves 5 to 6% of calories from saturated fat. What that means is, for example, if you have a 2,000 calories in a day, and this is just a ballpark. Some people, if your goal is to lose weight, you'll have less than 2,000 calories. If your goal is to gain weight, you may have more, but this is a ballpark just to give an idea of the daily intake and how much a person should have per day. So a 2,000 calorie diet, you would want to have no more than 120 grams of saturated fat, 120 calories in saturated fat. And that's about 13 grams of saturated fat per day. So you want to look at the big picture and the overall eating pattern and apply these general guidelines when your food is prepared. You want to make sure you don't want to add too much butter and you don't want to eat too much fat. You want to eat lean meats and stay away from meats that have more fat. For example, uh, red meat, you may want to eat less red meat and eat lean products as opposed to poultry, which is a little more lean without the skin and not fried. So you can choose grains and lean plant-based products for protein. You can also add a variety of fruits and vegetables and limit your salt and sugar and animal fat and processed foods like or alcohol. Your overall heart healthy dietary patterns we want to choose and make sure that there's like lean meat and again your poultries without your skin and prepare them without any saturated or trans fat. You want to be mindful that that your liquids are vegetable oils and not tropical oils. And also, it means eating more fish and fruits and nuts. And you might also try to replace some of your meat with beans or legumes or grains, mushrooms, and things like that are more plant based or not, then don't include animal fat. Sugar. American adults consume the average of 77 grams of sugar per day, according to the American Heart Association. That's more than 3 times the recommended amount for women. And this adds up to around 60 pounds of added sugar annually. Added sugar is really the culprit for the increased amount of sugar. And a lot of people think that it may be from fruit. But things like an apple, your body takes longer time breaking down the fiber and the sugar digests slowly. Unlike if you drink a sugary drink where the sugar is absorbed immediately and there's a rush. And the number for children in America is even worse, which is 81 grams per day, and that's equal to over 65 pounds of sugar per year. The typical amount of sugar that men should consume should be no more than 9 teaspoons, and that's an average of 36 grams of 150 calories in the 2,000 calorie diet per day of added sugar. And for women, the number is lower. It's at lower and under 6 teaspoons, which is 25 grams or 100 calories per day. And that can be considered like a 12 ounce of a soda. It typically contains 8 teaspoons, which is more than allotted in a day. So for women, one soda is enough. One can soda, one 12-ounce can soda is enough sugar, is more sugar than needed for the whole day. So when we're thinking about canned sodas and beverages are the leading category for sources of added sugars, and added sugars are what increases our sugar intake. 47% of all added sugars are from soft drinks, fruit drinks, sport drinks, coffee, or tea. And the second biggest contributor of added sugars is sweets and snacks, which provides about 31% of added sugars amongst Americans. Salt and sodium. Most dietary sodium comes from packaged and prepared foods, which is different from most people think, but it's not from table salt or salt added to food when cooking or eating. It's about 70% of the dietary sodium comes from processed foods or prepared foods. So learning about sodium in foods and exploring new ways to prepare foods can help you achieve your sodium goals. And if you follow some tips to reduce the sodium that you consume, you'll gradually decrease the taste for salt over time and you won't even miss it. So again, it's important to read the food labels, and this is based off a 2,000 calorie diet per day. You want to compare your foods and make sure that your sodium intake is less than 23,000 milligrams per day. 23,000 milligrams per day is the max, and you want to try to go under that amount. So if you go under the 100% for the 2,000 calories, that's a good place to stay. Something to consider is in the 2,300 milligrams per day, 5% of the daily value or less for sodium is considered low, and then 20% of the daily value or more sodium is considered high. So when you're looking at in a single dose, so when you're looking at the nutritional value of a product, 5% of the daily value is low, and 20% for a single serving is high. And that'll help you gauge when you have prepared or packaged foods. We want to limit the packaged sauces, mixes, and instant products that you use. So including like the flavored rice or instant noodles, a pack of noodles, the seasoning that comes with it may have way too much sodium. And you add flavor without sodium. So you can use fresh herbs and saltless spices instead of salt. You can try no salt seasoning blends like Mrs. Dash, or fresh herbs like rosemary and thyme and sweet basil. And you can buy fresh meats like poultry and seafood rather than processed foods. And also checking that the package on the fresh meat or poultry to see if it's in salt water or saline added, because that will increase your sodium intake. You want to wash your veggies, try to buy your vegetables fresh instead of frozen. Make sure they have no sauce or seasoning, or they're low in sodium or have no salt added. Canned vegetables, you want to rinse the sodium off the cans. Any canned foods like beans, tuna, or vegetables, you want to rinse those off before eating. And you want to go for unsalted snacks like unsalted nuts or seeds or crackers, chips or pretzels, or even try to snack on fresh vegetables like carrots or celery sticks if you want the crunch instead, or peppers. Consider your condiments like your salad dressings. You might want to go for olive oil and vinegar or vinaigrette as opposed to other bottled salad dressings, or use a smaller amount instead of the entire package. You want to think about just reducing your portion size, because the smaller your portions means less sodium. So having smaller portions, and also minding the foods that have less sodium in them will help you to maintain your salt and sodium and not go over your daily amounts. So eat this, not that. Here are some examples of some healthier ways to eat holiday favorites. So we all like and enjoy meat for the holidays. So if we had a turkey, would we eat the white or the dark meat? So there really isn't that much of a difference between the white or dark meat. As far as calories go, there's about a 5 calorie difference in between dark meat and white meat. The most important thing is the size and the portion control. So you want to have about 1 gram of turkey, and then you also want to make sure that there's no skin and that you're eating it without skin. The white meat is a little less in fat, but either way, you can choose either one, and it will still balance as long as the size and the portion is balanced. This one can be difficult. Everybody loves candy yams, but candy yams are loaded with sugar, loaded with saturated fats, lots of butter. And the healthier way is to bake a potato. You can have a baked sweet potato with no added sugar. They are actually very sweet on their own. You can just add a little cinnamon, and if you want a little bit of sweetness, just a small drop of maple sugar, maple syrup, or date sugar. And those are other healthier options. But sugar is sugar, so you want to be mindful and try to limit the amount of sugar that you use in this meal, in this. And then there are greens. So your greens, you can have many different types of greens. A lot of people go for collard greens this time of year, or kale. You have Brussels sprouts, spinach, asparagus. The important thing is to remember is that these vegetables do not need any meat to be tasty. So you can remove different meat for flavoring. So without ham or turkey or any other options that you may use to season your greens. You may use different options like fresh herbs like garlic and onions, and reduce the salt that you apply on the vegetables, as well as reduce the butter that you may apply on the vegetables, and eat them raw, or you can eat them lightly sauteed in fresh garlic and onions and vegetable broth. Take this time to think about how you may make your holiday season healthier this year. And some of these recommendations might feel a little drastic, but understand that it is a holiday. So even if you do eat whatever it is that your heart desires on that day, it is perfectly fine. You want to just be mindful about your portion control. Maybe sometimes you'll have a big heaping amount of one thing, but this year you may consider taking a smaller dose, smaller size, and a smaller portion, just to help to stay on track for your health goals and maintain your weight and feel good and healthy as you experience your holiday season. Always remember to take care of yourself. Happy holidays to all and be well. Please remember that it is still time for open enrollment. If you haven't already and are needing health insurance, you can apply. You can work with your community worker, or you can email me if you need further support. Here are acknowledgments, and take gentle care and be well.